Hello and welcome to Knights Blacks Agents Express. We're deep in the episode, so if this is your first one, you might want to go back a ways because we've got conspiracy board that's pretty thick at this point. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him. I am the GM for this session. This is part of the Gauntlet gaming calendar. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. This is an online community. We've been playing this now. Let's see, we did a prologue in December, and now we're in the second month of this, and we've got March to finish it out. Our PCs are in Barcelona. We had one out who's going to be returning with some information that has been gathered that they'll be bringing to the table here. Just as a reminder, we have lines and veils, the X card, and open door policy as our safety tools here. So let's do that quick character introduction. Let's start with Carl Pott. Tell us who you are and remind us of the cover ID you're going on under here in Barcelona.
Hi, hello, I'm Paweł and I'm playing Carl Pott, Polish ex-Grom commando, team badass, because we are, I don't know, we have some weird sub-team division over here, so I'm team badass, if anyone asks, but don't tell this to Jimmy. Carl is now bald, completely shaved. He's like super high class. He goes by Antonio Jose Lopez, a Latin musician, plays all kinds of instruments. Carl spent some time on YouTube, like watching how to play it, and he hopes that it can like get him by, unless they really want to test him. So yes, Antonio Jose Lopez.
Excellent. And then Peter Skellen.
Hello, I'm Paul, he, him, and the character I'm playing is Peter Skellen, also he, him. Peter is the group's man in the van, but quite often armed with a sniper's rifle if needed. And the cover identity Peter is challenging is All Things Orthodox Church. It's Batuska Christopher Klitu, who is a Eastern Orthodox priest, a common cover for Peter. And thanks for Carl for informing me that he is totally shaven all over. I was going to ask Jimmy about that, but thanks for bringing it into the open, Carl.
Fair enough. And Henrietta.
Hello, my name is Alan. I use he, him. I'm playing Henrietta Michaels, Henry to her friends, she, her. Henry is former MI6 and made her living pretending to be other people. Currently, since they were on the way to Barcelona, she took on the persona of MK, a Norwegian student on a year off. You can see that I am channeling Orphan Black in her many guises. And Henry is feeling a bit better, actually. I mean, the snakes last time were freaky, but Henry's feeling a little bit better, having had a long chat with a former, I take it to be MI6 scientist, who struck me as having a good view of threat, which might happen. So yeah, she's feeling a little bit better than she has done.
That seems like a fair assessment there. And then last but not least, Jimmy.
Hi, I'm playing Jimmy Rook, a bit of a wrong'un who turned into an MI6 asset, and is still a bit of a wrong'un, I guess. And last session, he made a little trip to back to Blighty, a place that he tries to avoid like the plague. While the rest of them interrogated a professor in Calais, Jimmy made it across back to the motherland and picked up a cache of documents that was stashed by Cassandra Irving, someone we rescued from a MI6 EDOM / arcane, whatever we're not quite sure how deep that subversion is there yet.
Right. So why don't you summarize the expedition, the love letter, and then we'll get to that roll.
So Jimmy, goes across as like a hand on a boat, a yacht, right? Doesn't go through any passport checks or whatever, just strolls on off the other side, pulls out a perfect British driver's license and stuff, and then makes his way to this storage depot where Cassandra has left the stuff, and pulls out boxes and boxes through these boxes of a huge package wrapped in plastic full of papers. It retreats to a safe house, a grotty little bedsit over a taxi rank, and pours through it with a crate of Carling and a bottle of whiskey by the side, smoking some Benson and Edges. And then he goes, and the next morning he looks very pale, and you can see that he's shaken, and he's got through most of that bottle. The papers have all been scanned and digitized and taken pictures, and he is going to stash them here. The physical, whatever he can, he can't get legible digital copies of. He's going to stash the physical copy. He's going to take, but he's going to stash the physical copies here. It's easier to transport digital than physical, right? And he's not expecting to have to present this to a hearing or anything. It's just information. On his way back, though, he is leaving Great Britain, and it requires me to make a cool roll to see how I evade any pursuit or capture in my Channel crossing.
How much do you want to spend on this?
That's a question, isn't it? I would like to spend 2.
Okay. Then let's have you make that roll.
Part of me is just like, oh, wouldn't it be so much fun just to fail entirely? But so close.
What do you got?
I got a 7.
Okay. So if we look at that, the 7 to 9 is they're on your heels. We're going to raise your group's heat by 1. What is the narrow escape that you make on the crossing?
I am out on the deck of the ferry. Because I'm hiding in the back of a lorry, right? Actually, and as I come in, there is not just border patrol, but you can see that they seem to be looking for something particular. It's much more. Border patrol's a bit of a joke, frankly. The Home Office has slashed the budget. It's all smoke and mirrors and a lot of crap at the end of the day. Keeps the Daily Mail happy, but there is, I can see a unit of police with them, and I can see as well that they're clearly the handlers who I would have pegged as security services, men in suits and silver and simple things. And what Jimmy does is he's stashed in the back of that lorry, and as they're working their way down the traffic line, he pulls out, he walks out the back of the lorry, and then picks up a high vis vest that's like dangling out of the window of a cab of somebody else's lorry, puts it on, grabs a beanie hat out from his thing, and walks off, and then just uses the high vis uniform of working environments to work his way through until he just walks straight onto the passenger ferry instead.
And it's close, and I think you do pass by at least one of these people that has like their phone out, and they've got your ident kit shot, a couple of different versions, with beard, without beard, and the person's kind of scrolling with that, like they know you're in England.
Yeah,
and
well,
they're
a good part
on
of
your
this
heel.
costume as well is that I've grabbed like a rebreather, like an air filter mask for work from this person's course. So they can't see it. I'm like, but knowing what I know now, of course they're after me.
Absolutely. So we cut, then that scene sort of cuts to you picking up the info drop and heading to overland to Barcelona. What is the cover that you are building for this trip?
That is a good question. I think I'm going to choose the cover of a oh, just trying to think of what would be useful. I think a human rights activist, like an NGO type person.
Absolutely. Let's have you make a cover roll.
I'll spend 2 out of that as well.
Okay.
8.
8. So it's going to stand up, but if you get pulled in by the authorities, if they do any serious scrutiny on it, long term, it'll fold. But for almost all other purposes, it's going to get you through everything right now. So we'll have you meet up with the group in Barcelona. Let me quickly flash to what we know is on the table. Barcelona is connected because the sort of parent company for the biochem place from Paris is here. That's Eurydice Investments. And that is headed up by Angel Calix. And it's pretty clear that he's sort of at the top, pulling strings. He's very wealthy, very well positioned, very powerful man, a financial investor. He has a minority holding in Eurydice, but seems to have assumed control after some sort of incident. The person that you knew was essentially had given information over to the Edom side, their person on the inside. His name is Narcís Montserrat, and he is currently in police custody for murder. And the police have kind of keeping a lid on that. Just as you heard, they're keeping a lid on some incident that happened at a corporation somewhere in the city. You haven't had a chance to kind of dig into what Calix is up to at the moment, but you've definitely got some connections to the Orphic cult, to the donations that were going on to Istanbul. You also definitely saw that Morgaine is present and is clearly under Calix's watch, and that she has one of these vampires with her. You've also seen that some of the people who were part of that extraction team to Paris, that they're here. So they're clearly in Eurydice's employ. Yes.
I had one question that wasn't clear to me from the last episode, which
Sure.
was they referenced Natalie Tolbert, the security chief, and they said they'd found her body.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely she was dead. And did they mention that there was a surviving member of her cell?
No, they're still looking for a couple, but they found I think 3 other people in a trailer in Paris who had been shot. So the 4th man is still unknown and at large.
Okay, yeah, it's the one who we heard on the phone who did the shooting.
Yes,
is
exactly.
Yes, cool. Thanks. I just wanted to make sure before I updated all the other notes.
Now I forget. I don't. Henry, did you set up a formal safe house, or is this just a more casual?
No, I did tick the box.
Okay. So again, set the scene for us before we bring Jimmy into the fold to give his story and exchange information.
In terms of the safe house, I think it's probably in not the best part of town, but not the worst. So it has the appearance of some kind of probably an Airbnb that would explain why a Norwegian student on a year across Europe, a rather snazzy bald bloke in a good suit, and an Orthodox priest could conceivably be using the same location.
Excellent. So we cut to Jimmy going through all of the various cutouts and safety passes and codes and things, and arriving late in the evening of the end of that second day of investigation there.
Can we
Yeah.
meet off the premises first?
Absolutely.
Because we did develop, didn't we, last time, a kind of anti-passenger vamp process that I think it is worth trying to run on Jimmy before we do that.
Oh, trying the lights and all of that.
Exactly. It's just, so you meet it at noon in an open space and you test your clotting reaction. We don't have to slice you, but we do have to kind of cut you. And I think we should do that whenever we come back into the build or plan to go back to the building.
Okay.
Might I suggest that we have one of those things that they give you at the blood donations? They prick you with a little thing that it just bleeds for a couple of, because if it carries on bleeding for more than a few seconds, that's definitely wrong. Right?
A lancet.
Kind of
Yes.
styrettes or
So I'm going to assume going forward that before any return to the safe house, those checks are being made. You don't have to say anything. We're just going to put that as an assumption in this.
really at night and in a hurry.
It's
But we're
mostly
gonna try.
bleeding. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, and Jimmy doesn't seem to be carrying a Greek vampire with him.
If Henry's the one who meets me and does the thing, I look at you and I'm like, you are not going to like this, I can tell you.
And Henry will be unremittingly upbeat. No, she won't. She's trying to be the Norwegian MK. She'll be very Nordic noir, and there's nothing you can tell me that will surprise me anymore.
I've seen the darkness at the heart of the world. Okay, yeah, that seems Norwegian. So you're back at the safe house, sitting down. I assume drinks are around as Jimmy comes to tell. So Jimmy, what do you tell them about the documents that you found?
Well, I fling down the documents right onto whatever physical documents I had to take. I put them down, and I pull out my phone and pull out the little SD card and slip it into like the computer that we've got set up here, right? And then we can all see them on our things. And we have a.
Before you get too into this, have we got a copy? Because I'm struggling to open the link.
If you click on the Drive Google on Cassandra, you just click on it once.
I'm in now. Thank you.
And then you're in. Yeah. We have, you can see that there is a special asset action report. There is a 1965 report from Cruden Bay in Scotland. There is a letter to one Bram Stoker, 1898, from the Admiralty's house. And there is an EDOM proposal for a joint SOE action in Romania from probably 1938, as I've worked out from the name.
1940 at the bottom of the document.
Oh, really? Well, that is an inaccuracy in Kenneth Hite's work then, because he was deposed. King Carol was deposed in that, unless it happened. Oh no, I think it happens at the end of 1940. So you're right, probably earlier. But yes, I should not know.
Do not question Ken Hite's historical analysis.
I was like,
Can I just say, I will not have a word said against the man.
Jimmy dies instantly for questioning God, I guess. And then the last 2 pages are similar to the document we've already got. But Jimmy slaps all that down and then slaps out a well-worn book that he's bought from while he was in Britain. And it is Count Dracula by Bram Stoker. And he says, look, this is the real shit, right? It goes back, it's fucking nuts. Stoker was some sort of analyst. His botched report, right? It was repurposed as a smokescreen, a cover story for all of the shit that was going on. But then they didn't leave it alone at that, right? This EDOM group, somewhere around the 40s, they tried to recruit CD, right? CD against the Soviets and the Axis to keep Romania under, as part of like a British interest. C fucking D, Count fucking Dracula. And if you think I'm crazy, right? Look at this report. This report from EDOM, based in Scotland, something that they've got called Caliban or whatever locked up down there, but they talk about reopening the old Carfax facility. Carfax. Don't need to tell you. Well, maybe I do need to tell you. Carfax is where Dracula was. And look, if that wasn't enough, the S serum, I don't know, maybe you guys know this already, but I think you do. But the Seward serum, Jack fucking Seward, the doctor from Dracula. Edom is a fucking Dracula. Dracula is an Edomop. And look, and I point at the most I think is one of the most significant thing is, I don't know when they lost track of this, all this historical stuff, right? Who knows how long it's been going on, whether it's clean still, what's been happening. But 2008, Prime Minister briefed. Whatever Edom was, whatever it is now, it's got some form of sanction. Listen, the silence is killing me, guys. Just tell me if you think I'm crazy or not, right?
Gordon Brown sanctioned the use of Dracula in MI6 operations.
Listen, I thought he was better than that too. But, you know, Blair I could have believed. But Brown, Jesus. But you can bet, you know, wherever, once you know what it's like, once they've got a weapon and it's useful, they keep using it, don't they?
I think it's very strange that they mentioned Elvis twice in this. I was sure he was dead. Are you saying he's a vampire?
I mean, if you'd asked me a year ago whether I thought Dracula was real, Peter, I would have said no. So maybe he is. Maybe you're
Thank
on
you very
something.
much.
Fuck knows what the Americans have done with this stuff.
Yeah, just tell me for a minute. This special asset action report that's in here, I'm trying to work out which year is this?
The year, when you run it through, you can probably find some, corresponding incidents, and that's 2019.
Oh wow. And these are dates and places, subjects, nationality, asset V1. Oh, V shit, there's a V3 on here. Are we talking about?
There's a V4 on here. Cruden Bay. That's the one that they've got, Cruden Bay.
Shit.
Accident on the, what I reckon it is, these are casualties. V4 is the assets. Each of these entries is a casualty. Male 24, female 40. The Proserpine. That's got to be something in Cruden Bay.
Hang
Accident.
on. I know something about Proserpine. Can I spend trade? No, I don't know. No, I don't think I can. Yeah, I would like to spend. Oh no, I can't. No, there's nothing there. No,
I've got military history which I could spend.
Yeah, because it would be good if we all knew what that was. Because I think I
Yes.
do, and I can't keep my brain in two halves.
Yeah. Likewise.
So I don't think that's even a spend, given that you know about that. You know that the Proserpine is a British
Submarine?
naval ship.
Oh, ship. Okay.
Now, I have to check exactly what
Okay.
class it is, but
Okay. HMS Proserpine.
Yeah.
Okay. For Elvis.
I mean, it's a lot, right? But I mean, doesn't it make it all start to make sense? Some of this, it's been going on longer than we could have imagined.
Okay, dates and locations, that's reasonably, self-explanatory. The subject column, There's a hell of a lot of things to do with this AQ 307, AQ 432, and every now and then there's just then random female, male, but mostly it's AQ, especially 307s, until a bit later.
Those are all
V1.
observation missions, apart from until they kill AQ 307 in Ukraine on 16th of July.
Yeah, it
And
is.
then that's surrounded by a cover story of a gang war was used in Ukraine.
So action, you're saying term is termination,
Mhm.
obs is observation.
Because they're spied on him, yeah, up until they terminate him.
And
So-
is collateral.
Yeah.
Look at Damascus on the 10th of the 6th, AQ 432, previously observed on the 9th, and earlier on 6676, terminated on 10/6, 2 collaterals, 1 bodyguard, 1 daughter. Shit.
Let me give you a few things that I think you can pick up with your military science spends and a certain amount of cryptography. I think that Carl, you can probably put together that the AQ there actually stands for Al Qaeda.
Yes.
Suggesting that these are ops being run against Al Qaeda in some form. Collateral definitely, as you think, seems to refer to collateral damage. The term is clearly terminate. There's some other plain language things there, but it does look like a list of assets being used in various operations, and a lot of incidental damage from people.
V1. V1's their weapon. V3, they've only used it. Only one mentioned here is observation in London, like at the end of the report. V2.
Yeah, that's also an E31 rather than AQ.
Yeah. Edom.
Rendition,
Yeah. Subvert.
Subvert, yeah, maybe.
Supplier, unknown female, 17th in Transnistria. Usual supplier, supplied V1 with something.
Oh, yeah, look, there's sup as well as sub. I just noticed, unless that's a misprint.
It
We're
does
dealing
look.
with 4 of these fuckers.
Peter, you've got a pretty good surveillance, so I think you can kind of see that there's definitely a pattern. This is a chain of incidents, with the first vampire being sent to Syria, to Turkey.
Turkey first, yeah.
Yeah, observing someone and then following along. You've got a few terms. Elvis seems to be the name of a handler. You'd guess on that. And you can kind of track that back. The other thing that I will mention is that there is a reference to a term that you heard before, blacklight.
Move to blacklight.
Blacklight.
Yeah.
The scientist you talked to last time referenced blacklight as being a site affiliated with Edom in Bucharest.
Ah, right. I mistakenly put it down as the night station.
Yeah, I put it down as a night station as well, actually. So I must have come from something.
Okay, that's blacklight place,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. I figured it was the same place.
We're not going to Romania. That's pretty much off limits, isn't it?
Well,
But don't you see
Yes.
all of it goes back to Romania?
No. Sorry. Move to Blacklight. That actually wasn't in Romania. That was actually in Ukraine. The
Was it?
location is Ukraine. The nationality of the person moved is Romanian. Yeah. Am I reading that right?
Right.
What do the others
However,
think about
That's
It says rendition. Rend
Yeah.
means rendition, and
To
clearly they were
Blacklight.
moved to Blacklight.
yeah.
Suppose.
that? So it happened in the Ukraine. It was a Romanian female in her 20s, moved to the Blacklight
Rendered
site,
to
which we
Blacklight.
also think is in Romania.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just to clarify with the all-knowing GM, the night station is Blacklight, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Cool. So V2, V3 is UK. V4 is probably this Caliban thing on the Proserpine that they mentioned in the 1965 letter as remaining on site. The 1965 letter, I've done a little summary of it in the box there. I'll update it with some of the notes from the special action report. But the 1965 one also has an asset Ritter on storage, which might be one of these four. We don't know which one. And they were definitely because they were using Woods lights, which are UV lights, to contain it. And they mentioned how the Sacrament was like some sort of countermeasure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Written by Iram. Does
Yeah.
Iram mean anything to us?
not to me.
I think you can probably put together the who has a cult.
I have a cult.
Then I think you'll put together Iram, Elvis, as names. I believe. The terminology that comes from the Nephilim. I believe I have to check the crosses, but it is a set of terms drawn from the occult, and they seem to be using that as their code names.
Okay. Well,
So, and I mean, I'm going to assume you guys have filled me in on all of the stuff that happened last session as well. I mean, Kane's operation, right, within AgroWealth, that owns that shipping company that's tied to back into the into Dracula as well. It's part of Edom. Bagson said he worked for Edom, right? But we've got reason to believe that Kane's working their own op, the Romanians. So the question is, how is Bagson part of that? Is he Edom's loyal man, or is he corrupted as well? Is Edom how fucked is Edom? Because my question is that did they recruit Dracula? I mean, they definitely did something, didn't they? If they've got all these. But if one of these things is pulling the chain of anyone, who knows who knows where? Is it in Kane, or is it in Edom, or is it who they're doing this work on behalf of? It was Edom, right? But then Edom closed it down, and Kane's reopened it herself. It means that at least some part of it's been subverted by something. And my money's on the, no offense, my money's on the supernatural, spooky things. Put holding the cards in this situation.
Let me check in with Carl, who's gotten hit with a ton of information here, and you're not MI6, you're not a Brit, and here they are going through all this stuff. What's your take on this?
Nothing. I got none. I'm just like listening in, and planning what and thinking what can I do about something else. So
Fair enough.
I mean, it was Edom it wasn't Edom, it was Kane's lot who set us up and brought us here to Barcelona. We know
is
that
anybody asking the why of that?
Bagson said it was all just we were just useful.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, I am slightly, I'm wondering about motive a bit, I suppose.
I think for the benefit of Carl, let's run through this special actions report in more of a sort of conversational way. I think it'd be easier for a lot of people to get their head around it. So on the 3rd of the 6th in Turkey, V1 observed this Al Qaeda target, yeah?
Yes.
He then spoke to Elvis requesting sub. What are we saying sub is?
I think we're guessing that as subvert, maybe. Because we've seen that the vampires have got mental powers, right? That they can put people under.
Doesn't really say, because the next two entries on the 6th and the 7th, V1 was still in Syria, still looking at this Al Qaeda 432. Obviously, previously requested sub, then did 2 days of sub, but it gives no explanation about what that is. Then on the 7th, still in Turkey, V1. So this entry is not to do with Al Qaeda.
This is a collateral damage. Killed a cleaner.
They killed a cleaner.
Female cleaner.
Yeah. And that's it for V1 on the 7th of the 6th. On the same day, V4 in the UK was let's just say involved, in an accident on Proserpine, which we believe to be a ship.
Yeah.
And we can go and look that up, research that later if need be. But that's all V4 does. Doesn't do much else.
No.
End of V4.
So V4 is either still on that ship or has been put down.
Yeah. Then on the 9th of the 6th, we're back in V1, and most of this document is V1.
Yeah.
V1 requests a termination authorization from D.
Yeah.
So he's now moved from Turkey to Syria. An easy
So
move.
He's followed AQ432 from Turkey to Syria to Damascus.
Yeah.
Still watching.
Yeah. And has asked for termination. He's received that on the 10th of the 6th and terminates 432.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the same day, he also kills the 432's bodyguard, possibly the bloke's daughter as well.
Yeah.
You know, because it's question mark.
Collateral.
In an unknown location, but probably in Syria. You know, he doesn't move that quickly. Then 4 days later, V2 does something. He's in Romania, reference Skinsky. Have we had anything to... Do we know Skinsky?
Doesn't ring a bell.
No.
No. Okay, so V2 does something there, and then the next day, this is all to do with an Al Qaeda asset called 307, which V1 then later picks up from V2. So V2's just observing 307 in Romania. Next day, he's observing V2 is observing 307, arms contact confirmed by Hound. So are we saying there that V2 seems some sort of arms deal? Arms contact? What do people think?
Given what comes up later, that makes sense.
Okay. So then we flick back to V1. V1 then picks up 307. A handoff uneventful. So arms contact, then 4 days later, the handoff was uneventful. This is still 307. And that was only an observation on the 20th. So then we go 5 more days. V1
can I just check then? So we think that V2 was doing obs, and then the handoff is from V2 to V1.
Yeah.
I thought that was more a handoff of arms, but you know, we're only surmising here, but yeah, fair enough.
Well, V2 has to be a special asset, has to be one of something, right? So it can't just be, even if it is an arms dealer, it has to be a vampire arms dealer, right?
Yeah.
But so the handoff is from 2 to 1. Yeah, off you go.
So then on the 24th, we're back with V1 after the handoff. We're now in Germany.
No, we're not. We're still in Romania. It's a German citizen.
It's a German. Yeah, you're right. We're still in Romania. It's a German female in her 30s. ENC?
Encounter. Disturbed Earthbox site.
Okay.
Somebody bumped into Drac in a box.
Okay. Then we go another 6 days, still with V1, still against target 307. The sub-approval sub. Yeah, I'm not too sure sub is subversion.
Not either.
Hard to say.
Would a tradecraft spend allow us to know what sub means?
Yes.
Oh, spend a point of tradecraft. Just
Subversion, suborn, suggests to you, given what you've already seen, that seems to be the use of hypnotism or mind control, given what the others have encountered before with the vampires.
Presumably 307 was not agreeable.
Well, neither was 432.
Wasn't useful anymore. Ran out of use.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with Henrietta. They don't seem too good on this subversion because the target's always terminate a bit later on.
Well, but there is something to what Jimmy is saying, that if you subvert them, you squeeze them dry, then you take them out. But then why do you have to keep observing them? No, forget it. Photojournalist bumps into the photojournalist, bang, you're dead, or you're dead.
Well, I know you observe them so you can find more targets.
Maybe.
Then back to observing 307 in Bucharest, then observing 307 4 days later in Odessa. Arms deal confirmed.
Termination approval.
Now, I think that arms deal links back with the 15th of the 6th, arms contact confirmed. So I think it's definitely something to do with an arms deal. Termination approved from D. So D gives a lot of orders. And then on the 4 days later, still in Odessa, still against 307.
Can I play the MI6 card here? I'm fairly confident I know who C is. Is D somebody who appears above the water in MI6 orders of battle?
I think a 2-point spend on tradecraft will get you the answer to that question.
I would do that, but I've just gone to the character keeper, and my character keeper looks very odd indeed. Ooh.
Yours looks fine for me.
Right, okay, I'll close it and open it. Okay. Right, I will make that spend, I think. There we go. We're back. Okay. Tradecraft, a 2-point spend of tradecraft takes me down to 4 in interpersonal. Tell me about D.
There has long been a running joke that has gone on about, they had the C as the name, the code name for control within MI6. That position has changed over the years. It's been the sort of the high-end leadership. But of course, it's a wilderness of mirrors. And there's always been a running joke about there being an agency within MI6. And the joke has always been that it's D, that because C runs the real one, D would run the next. But you also know that when that joke's gone around, highly placed people have not approved of that joke. And it seems to you like, they're talking about there being someone at the head of this agency, the person who is giving orders to whoever this Elvis is, this Iram, that they are running their op within the MI6. Likely, if you go up the chain from Bankson to his handler and up, I think at the end of that chain, eventually you'll reach D.
Yeah, I can imagine, flashback to chat in the canteen, whenever something a bit inexplicable has happened. And there's a bit of, that's all down to D, you know, nudge, nudge. Okay, so
So deauthorises the termination of AQ 307. 4 days later, still in Odessa,
yeah,
V1 observes 307, but the note is transport via locals, not
HGD, the haulage company we know something about.
indeed.
Already.
Yeah, that's the haulage company. So they use locals to move about, not HGD.
Yeah,
And then in a different Ukrainian city or town, 307 is terminated. End of 307. There's a little bit of collateral damage. 2 men in their 20s. No, not a daughter bodyguard, just 2 people.
yeah.
Still in that same city on the same day. Subverts.
Okay, so the 320s are the locals helping with transport of the arms. They take out 2 of them, and the other one is mesmerized into a gang war picture. Yeah?
Yeah.
Seems like a good read on that.
On the same day, there is also another, well, it looks like 406, an Al-Qaeda asset on the same day. So probably in the same arms deal or something. 406 gets whacked, an unapproved collateral damage.
V1 got hungry.
Sent the buyer, right? Or the seller, one of the other end.
One end of the deal or the other.
Yeah.
And also on the same day, there's a rendition of this Romanian female in her 20s to the Blacklight site.
Yeah.
By V1.
So somebody, what looks like an innocent party, perhaps witness to this, is just lost in blacklight.
Yeah. 1 day later, V1 then subverts the usual supplier.
Yeah.
But
Like
in a
sup
completely
rather than sub there, SUP.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they're just going to see the usual supplier in a completely different location. This is
Tirsopol in Transnistria.
Where the fuck's Transnistria?
It's the wild west of Moldavia.
It's
or the wild east, actually. It's on the border with Ukraine.
It's an unrecognized nation state, basically. It has no official thing in its base. It's
Damn the breakup of the USSR.
If you want to buy nuclear materials, that's probably the place that you would go, frankly.
Yeah.
Okay, and then quite a few days later, V3 observes a bit of suspicious activity. Now this is years ago, isn't it? So it's
2019.
2019.
So 3 years ago.
3 years.
3 years ago. Okay, so he's not observing Jimmy doing something a bit weird. Okay, so I don't think we need to concern too much about V4, V2, and V3. They just do little odd bits here and there. Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
We haven't got much of a picture on them.
The story here is of V1. V1 is reliable, trusted, and for the most part behaves themselves.
Yeah, Carl, does that help you?
I'm under the ton of water, barely catching on.
Okay.
Quit mechanic, I'm completely lost. So when you guys figure it out, someone can send me a memo like, here is the explanation, and I will read it.
I think the long and short of it, the long and short of it boils down to there are 4 vampire assets of Edom. The first one seems to be the most active. We don't really know about the other 3. The first one has been murdering people and doing other stuff all over the place. Jimmy's question is the first one. Would the V1 be the first vampire?
Yeah.
Would that be C fucking D?
Well, I think it's difficult to come to any other decision. If we believe any of that, I'm not saying I do.
But they were gonna bag Cassandra. Bagson was gonna bag Cassandra. Bagson was involved in getting us involved. I don't see any, even if Edom really was vampire hunters who controlled if they were he said they were vampire hunters, but they're not vampire hunters, they're vampire handlers. And if they are
Well-
vampire handlers, then why use us?
No, but hang on. There is one thing that all of that is official British use of vampires. Okay, I'm not saying it's okay, but there's a system, right? What I wonder is if Cassandra Cain has gone is now gone independent. We know that she had something to do with this Edom operation back in the day. What if they are trying to tidy up Cain? Because Cain's the loose cannon in this.
Cain didn't know what she was. Cassandra Cain? Cassandra Irving?
Ursula Cain, sorry.
Ursula
Ursula
Cain. Yeah,
Cain.
Ursula Cain. Well, this is it, isn't it? Ursula Cain is the top of their cutout.
Well, no, but I mean, there's no mention of any cutouts in that piece of paper you've given me. They don't need a cutout.
Yeah, their operations look pretty slick.
And if we take the view that Gratz was about sealing in, just killing a program, whatever it was doing, Edom killed it, right?
But Bagson's
Cain
been
has
going
gone
back
in.
to Britain to report to someone.
Oh yeah, I think he is hunting Cain's vampire program.
Because looking at this, I am morally quite happy with the actions of V1. V1 is taking Al Qaeda assets off the board.
V1's taking out people that they say are Al Qaeda assets.
Well, okay, but I think I'm with Peter in as much as what that piece of paper suggests to me is that there is a British vampire program that's tracking, suborning, and assassinating terrorists.
Yeah.
There is collateral damage.
Yeah.
Okay. The question I'm left
Let's
with.
phrase that in the right way. There's this vampire program, and it is taking out terrorists, but it is also killing innocent bystanders.
Yes. And there is some moral ambiguity in that that Henry is prepared to admit to. But the fact is that I think that is different from Cain.
Yes, no, I agree that it's different from Cain. But my question is whether I think the real question is whether Bagson, is part of Edom, right? We established that Bagson's
Yeah,
part
and
of
he
Edom.
eventually reports to D.
Yes, yeah, because he's had to go back. But Bagson is part of AgriWealth. Cain was always so. If Cain's rogue and they've got a man so into it as Bagson, why is it? How can this possibly be continuing on? That's the ambiguity there. Is Bagson turned? Is he Cain's man? Supposed to be reporting back to the parent organization. Edom may think that they are. Maybe Cain is hiding all of her operations within Edom's operations. It would seem to me.
I don't think we're in a position to unpick that. I might, Edom will clearly have wanted to have picked up Cassandra. Bagson was fronting that operation, so he is at least trusted by Edom to do that. Because I can't see why Cain would need the kind of stuff that you've got, because she's got all that. She knows all that, or knows a lot of it.
Yeah, you're right. This is information on Edom rather than on Cain, although it does unveil some of Cain's sort of stuff as well.
And it unveils what Cain may be trying to replicate.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's break this down into directions.
Yeah.
On the one hand, you're here in Barcelona. You don't know what the Greek vampires are up to, but they're clearly up to something. They've taken steps. They're working with biological matter and picking up old programs. They've got this scientist woman who has connection to old programs, things like that. And Calix, highly placed financier, a lot of power. What are they up to? Unclear. On the other hand, if you let that sit and percolate, there is the issue of Cain. She is clearly tied into old operations. this in vitro, the child that you heard about, she's clearly using agri-wealth, and there's clearly something sinister going on there. On the other hand, then we've got Edom, and Edom is clearly doing some shady stuff, maybe some good stuff, but the question is how compromised Edom is. We've got Edom and Cain. Clearly, Cain is using Edom's assets kind of under the radar. So those are kind of split there. So I think those are sort of the three biggies that we see on the table. The question is who or what you want to go after first. You've got a few sites, you've got some names of places, both from the documents that you got, plus some of the information you got about Cain's operations before this. Which way do you want to go? And I think for that question, we're going to pause, take a break, and when we come back, we're going to look at those questions and see whether we need to do a little more research on the ground or whether we need to head out. Keeping in mind, of course, that the vampires are aware that you're here in Barcelona.
Yeah.
There we go. So let's go till 10 after. So a lot of things, a lot of balls are in the air here, as it were. And Henry, you wanted to analyze where you are here in Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean, we're in Barcelona. When we came here, I expected, the reason I thought we came here was to have a go at Narcís Montserrat. Now, Narcís is arrested for bloody, messy murder of his husband, and the police have also put a lid on a criminal event at some board meeting. So that was the loose end I wanted to pull on. I'm worried they know we're here, that the Greeks know we're here. And I don't know if we know enough about the Devil House to cross the threshold, to be honest. The only plus thing about Barcelona is we kind of know how to spot and kill one of these passenger vamps.
With difficulty.
Yeah, but we have a method.
Yeah,
we have a method. Yeah.
And for the moment, the contact that you wanted to talk to, Montserrat, is at least reasonably safe for the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am all for pushing a bit further in Barcelona.
Well, the point I'm going to make is that the loose end that I was going to pull on is locked up.
Doesn't mean totally inaccessible.
It doesn't, but you know, if I just metagame this as where we are in terms of heat, the idea of bluffing my way in there as his lawyer or a Europol agent is not high on my list of things I want to do today.
But it's so in your wheelhouse.
It is, of course it is, but I'm not stupid. It just seems to me that's the only way I can think to get to him.
Well, I will intercede and say I'm very good of, if I get locked up, I can quite easily get out.
I'd forgotten about that one. Yes, the escapist.
Are we gonna get Peter put in prison? Because I was just watching Lupin and I was like, I definitely want to do that, but
yeah, I don't think it would be too hard.
You are absolutely terrible at the interpersonal.
That is the problem. I don't have questioning. Yeah, that's not my strong suit, I am afraid.
So I actually wanted to propose. I mean, it depends how much suboptimal we want to play, because of course interacting with the police force is dangerous. But I mean, I just wanted to suggest that we should research which lawyer office is doing the stuff and pose as that lawyer office representative, and then try to question him using that. Hey, we are from the. I'm just looking for name. We are from Underworld. I'm an agent of the Underworld. We are assessing whether you are worth rescuing or not. What can you give us from your last research or whatever, and try to pull him for the information that way. That's the idea that we had.
Exactly, and that's what I hope to do. I'm just reading the fact that we're currently on fire in terms of heat, which means roll with disadvantage dealing with officials and authorities. The idea of trying to, even in my wheelhouse, but the wheel's missing. I just think that's really difficult to do.
That means you'd have to have an even better disguise.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so look, I think that's incredibly risky, right? We could try and get Peter caught. The trouble is that Peter couldn't negotiate or persuade his way out of a paper bag.
No, true. But you might also be good at escaping.
Oh, God, you bastard. Ah!
Oh, look at that.
I mean, I can do it. I just don't have very good questions to ask, but
God,
yeah, I can do it.
You are telling me that Cosima, who is on every Europol notice board across Europe, needs to get caught, aren't you, Peter?
Yes. Admittedly, you are female, he is male, so I don't know how much interaction. I'm sure we could play that. I think that's playable. Unless, Lowell wants to be quite strict on prison regulations. But if he's just in some sort of local jail,
yeah,
police
no, he is he is being held at like a police center rather than an actual prison.
Yeah, so
okay.
They're not particularly sort of, yeah, you should be fine there. Escapist would get you out, and you could easily get caught because escapist could get you out.
Yeah,
I don't even mind going in with you. It's I don't think it's a skill I spend that often. If you want somebody in there with you, I'm more than happy to go in as well.
Let's do that thing. Let's do that thing. I think Cosima needs to walk into a Barcelona police station and say, that police station, and say, excuse me, I think there's been a question of mistaken identity, and that you want to talk to me. Can't believe I'm saying it, but it is what I am saying.
Okay. Well, then let's start with that. And we'll check in with the others about what they're doing in sort of parallel. So you are taking on that old identity. Are you doing anything to set yourself up? Are you reaching out to a contact who might be around? Are you spending to give yourself a pool? What do you think is the you'll still have preparedness, but I just want to make sure in case there's anything you're putting in your back pocket before this starts. You are muted.
I don't think I'm going to get anything in my back pocket.
Okay.
Into that cell. Because
Streetwise might allow you to have somebody on the inside.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do it so that you save your pool for the actual scene.
Yeah. Do you want to make a network roll, Carl?
I was thinking of tradecraft spend.
Okay. So you can spend from that to give yourself a pool for network to get somebody set up.
Okay, but I have no idea set up for what. I just want.
Yeah, I think if Carl, you sort of, I had no idea what a local, somebody that's just gone in, you could easily get a message to a man that's also been arrested, that's in there, through Streetwise, that would give you a pool to pull on your asset there that could assist her.
I tell you what. I currently have. I had 2 talent slots, right?
Okay.
I see. Oh no, I've only got 1. So I can't. Because there is a talent to do with finding a network contact in a very odd place.
That's what I've got. But I will spend a point of Streetwise to set that up and do a network test. Right?
Sure.
I will. I may as well spend all of it, I guess. Sorry, roll with me has frozen.
Oh.
That's a 9.
So do you want like someone who's also in jail, or do you want someone who works in the facility, or do you want like a cop that you know? Who do you think is the contact that you're going to have to assist Henrietta?
How do you guys feel about a bent cop?
I think a cop's useful because somehow we need to be in the exercise yard at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it's a police station, right? So the guards are all cops as well, effectively.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So male, female, who is this this police officer?
Where are we? In Barcelona. It is Pablo. Who does a lucrative side trade in seized contraband and other such products.
That makes sense to me. So we'll say Pablo Morales.
Mm-hmm. And
channel your orange is the new black, Will.
And so, he you talk to him and he's like, so you got this person who's coming in. You want me to make sure they can make contact with this other person?
Yeah, and can make sure that there's some of the usual product.
Okay. I can do that. It's been a while since you've been in Spain, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, after Madrid, I thought it was best to have a siesta somewhere else.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll do this.
Yeah, no hard feelings about that, huh?
No hard feelings.
Yeah.
It's all business. So Henrietta, we cut to the shot of you walking into the police station. The person behind the desk looks up as you come in, and you say who you are, and you see them kind of look down at their computer, and then look up at you and look back down, and they clearly hit a button, and a couple of people come in, and this detective Morales, who's clearly been kind of waiting in the wings, comes and says, so you say there's some sort of mistake with this Interpol listing for you?
Yes. I mean, a friend of mine found it on the internet, and I thought it was best if I came in and cleared it up.
All right. And he turns to the person behind the desk, like, I'll take her up the holding cell, blah, blah, blah. You get on the horn. It's a little late. We'll keep her in overnight. You can give a call to Brussels tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I will have arranged for this to be after closing time, so to speak.
And he will, takes you over to the elevator, gets in there. So how do you know Jimmy?
Jimmy's a very good friend of mine, and I understand a very good friend of yours.
Yeah. Friend may be stretching it.
Someone with whom you have a mutual business arrangement, I'm sure.
Yes. I think that's a better way to put it.
So while all this mistake is being cleared up, I'd rather like to speak to the person that Jimmy told you about.
Okay. I'm going to drop you in a cell. Just sit tight. I gotta got to pull some strings to get him in a interrogation room, and then I'll bring you on in. All right.
Thank you.
And it is a tense 45 minutes while you sit there. People go past, it's quiet, it's kind of after hours. You hear, some yelling down the way, food trays get served, people come past, they ignore you, and time passes so slow. But then Morales is there, and he unlocks it and he says, all right, stay real quiet while you're walking with me. And he'll walk you down, takes you up a back stairs up to what is clearly an interrogation floor. And there are no guards around here. He says, all right, I'm going to let you go in and talk to this guy. I'm going to be behind the glass. I'll give you a buzz if we need to get you out of there.
Thank you, Pablo. I much appreciate your efforts.
One thing, you're not going to kill this guy, right?
Do I look like a killer?
That's not a yes or a no.
I'm only interested in talking to him.
Okay.
You have my absolute assurance, Pablo.
Just don't, because if you kill him, then I'm going to lock you in there, and then I'll call downstairs. All right? I'm just telling you that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Ask Jimmy about Madrid.
Yes, yeah. There's a number of cities I need to ask Jimmy about.
Okay. And he'll, runs his key card there, opens the door, and opens it up, and there's a smell of fear on a guy. And when you see Montserrat, that is definitely the smell and the look. He's gaunt. He's clearly been here a few days. He's clearly haggard, bags under his eyes. And Pablo gestures for you and then shuts the door behind you.
And I walk briskly up to extend my right hand and say, hello, Mr. Montserrat. Brett sent me.
And we'll come back to that in just a moment. While that's going on, what other angles are people exploring or doing research or looking into? Peter, what about you? Let's start with you.
Yeah, I think we need to start disassembling Calix's organization here in Barcelona.
Okay.
Morgana is clearly important. So what Carl did some work on her, didn't he, and got semi-caught sort of thing.
She got spotted by the vampire, but he was able to establish that Morgane goes to the Devil House and her, like, the house that she's been set up in, right, Pavel?
Yes, I was following her in a car, and I found out where she lives, where she stays.
Okay, I would like to spend my only interpersonal thing. I would like to get an invite to a party that Calix is holding at the Devil House. A big sort of Viennese type ball, white tie. I don't know if it's a masked ball or not. But yeah, I'd like to sort of put it around that there's a high rolling Brit in town, head of some tech organization, a dummy Wikipedia page.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like he is actually doing a kind of an open party for a number of highly placed people. That there's a big FC Barcelona game tomorrow, and that he's sponsoring a big charitable thing has the big owners box, and tonight is kind of a night before thing. A number of the players are going to be here as as kind of guests to show off and such. And so, yeah, you'll be able to secure an invite to that.
Superb.
Let's have you make a cover roll to get all of that set up: clothing, ident, legend, all of it.
Okay. Does the high society become a 3-point pool?
Yeah, I think that's I think you're spending high society to get in.
Okay, so not a problem.
Yeah.
I will spend 2 from cover.
Okay.
To set up this. Was it worth a 3? No. Let's go with 2.
Absolutely.
I will regret it.
Wouldn't want to overspend.
Well, yeah. You're a nasty man. Get in there. I did overspend by 1.
So got an 11?
11.
Okay.
Total.
So yeah. So what kind of industry are the British investor? What kind of?
Yeah, I think sort of very modern tech. I was the man behind Zoom 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. So you'll be able to get that set up. We'll come back around and put you on site for that. Carl, Peter's going to this party. Henrietta's in the police station. What are you up to at that point? Want to hit the street to talk to criminal contacts? You want to survey Morgane's place?
I think since I had other idea about getting to Devil's house, but now that this not really needed, I think we'll see Carl at their apartment experimenting with making crossbow bolts from the living wood to preserve its like freshness and like carving it into basically a flying stakes. Fire here from a modified crossbow.
Yeah.
Not sure if it will be needed, but
let's have you roll mechanics. You may make a spend for military science if you want to give yourself a tactical pool on this. That makes sense to me.
I actually have a plenty in specialists that are just sitting there waiting to be spent.
Just waiting to be spent.
Yes, so I'm going to spend 2 of this. It's an 8.
So I think that you'll be able to get, one of those, mechanized compound crossbows with, all the gears and pulleys. And you'll be able to get, some of these live stakes and you know that you need to have the branches on it. And that's the issue, is that it is super aerodynamic. So I think you'll have this, but it's pretty short range. Like it's essentially across a room kind of thing. It's not at all a long distance fire, but with that kind of force that you've got behind it, you can still propel this so it'll punch through like a rib cage or a sternum.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you've got a couple of these things, and I think we get that montage of you building that sort of MacGyver style.
Yeah, and then having like a beanbag as a target practice, and then just like Carl trying to like figure out the aerodynamics, how to make it has this tiny little leaves and still being a living wood, but being also somehow aerodynamic. So yeah.
Perfect. So you've got that set up. It is also a little bulky. Jimmy, what are you up to while these operations are going on?
Jimmy is flicking through Dracula and like highlighting things and writing in the margins and everything. Glass of I'd connect to him. And Carl, do you tell Jimmy about the snakes?
Yeah, sure.
So what? Peter had his lips around your legs, and then he had his lips around Henrietta's legs. second I go, you're all sucking on each other. I mean, you know,
with respect,
don't.
Henrietta had our lips round her own leg.
Jimmy spits out his vodka at that.
No, it was a multi it was a tandem, you know. It was a difficult situation. We had to like somehow work with what we got.
I mean, I'm not offended, Carl. You know, don't feel shy on my account is all I'm saying, right? You guys carry on.
I mean, if you want some of this action, you and Peter can go to Calais, and I'm sure I'm sure you can find some spiders, you know.
Jimmy just laughs and knocks back his vodka. And I'm unsure of how best, because it seems that the leads we have here are Devil House, which Peter is doing. I guess I would like to set myself up in a way to be able to back Peter up, perhaps as a staff or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So that feels like cover to get in.
Which I've already spent some cover. I don't want to do that.
I mean, do you have a particular like an investigative skill that might help you make put that cover together?
I suppose. So Peter's going for a party, right, at the Devil House. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I will spend flirting to be the arm candy of one of the FC Barcelona players or something, another guest, if that works.
That certainly works. So spend that flirting. I think that gives you a pool for your cover to get in. Let's have you make that roll. Do you want to spend all of it?
Yes,
all three of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
15.
Well, that'll see a little overspend.
Yeah, I'm Candy Carl. I am his date, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that well-known gay football player.
It's 2023, man.
Yeah. You'll be able to get into this place. We'll come back to what that looks like in a little bit. Henrietta. He looks at you and he says, "What went wrong? What went wrong?"
I need to know some things quickly, Narcissus, because the clock is ticking on this. I need to know whether you have stored a second copy of everything you gave Bagson, and if so, where? Because if we are going to get you out of here, we have to neutralize that backup copy so no one else can find it. If you didn't keep a backup copy, then, and it's all in your head, then I have to say, Narcissus, that was rather ill-judged of you.
Look, I provided the base. It wasn't deep. I made the offer because of what I knew and what was going to happen. I mean, you left me out to dry. She's still alive, and Nicanor is gone, and
it's okay. Calm down, Narcissus. We didn't hang you out to dry. That's why I'm here.
Look,
so
you have
just
to
calm
get
it
me
down.
You have to get me out of here.
Of course, and that is where we're heading. But you'll understand that I need to just confirm that you are who I think you are, and that you are not in any sense playing both sides against the middle. So just in brief, give me a sense of what you told Bagson that will allow me to confirm against what Bagson told me.
They're opening the vault.
And the vault is located? Just checking.
I don't know. I know that they're doing something in Istanbul to unseal. they there is an old war between the vampires that I was associated with and the children of that that I know, operate in Europe. And
Nodding sagely all the
they,
time. Yes, yes,
they
I know this,
have
Narcissus.
gained enough of that blood from them to open old things hidden away. And when they do that, Europe will be covered, Middle East will be covered, Africa, all of it will be covered in darkness. They will open the gates to the underworld. That's where all of them live, hungry, the shades, they're sitting there waiting.
And that is the gist of what you told Bagson. That's reassuring that you're telling me the same thing. I'm going to use questioning here because I do want to get back to this answer about whether any of this is written down anywhere.
And yeah, let me make a questioning spend.
What I'm trying to judge here is, do I need him or not?
So I think he clearly has more information about what's going on. I think that's what you want to establish, right?
And whether that is in his head or whether he has kept records anywhere.
I think you have a definite sense that what he knows is in his head. It's not written down. And he'll say, look, I don't want to talk to Bankson anymore. I want to talk to his handler. I want to talk to Kanaz. I know that she's running this. I know that she knows about this.
Well, of course, that would be for negotiation after you're debriefed in London.
Look, he knows that I'm still alive. Calix knows I'm still alive. You've got to get me out of here.
Of course.
Because he'll come back. He already killed my husband. He killed the whole board. He killed the whole board of Eurydice. And he covered the whole up. I've been telling him this, but no one will listen to me.
Of course.
And he ripped Nicanor away from me.
Ah, right. Okay. So I was beginning to wonder. So I'm concluding that Montserrat was a Philomeli, but his passenger has now moved shadows, so to speak, or been taken. I mean, it's an interesting question. But okay, so he is not currently infected with a vampire.
Yeah, I think, and you can do a quick check on that. A pinprick on your finger while you're sitting there will confirm that your blood flows freely.
Okay. Then I think I have to get him out. I don't think I'm going to give in to escapist, because that will get us both out. I think at this point, this might be a good time to move instead to Nick of Time.
What action did you take in advance?
Yes, I think that what I did was to arrange, perhaps with or without Pablo's knowledge. That would make no sense.
Morales is clearly not going to be on board with getting this guy out of here.
No, of course not. And therefore, what I will do is I will say that this is when smoke alarms begin to go off in the police station.
Okay.
Because what I did was to set up one of the cleaners to drop some smoke bombs in the bins.
And I think there is that bit when the alarms go off and we suddenly get that sort of change of the lighting where it goes to that emergency lighting, and you're up and moving for the door. you put a piece of tape so it didn't do the lock there, so you're up and ready to get going. And he's like, what's now?
You did want to leave, didn't you?
And he gets up and he moves to the door, and I think we'll see you get out in the hallway. But I think at that point we also see the door from next door open up, and we see Morales stepping out. We'll come
here,
back
Pablo,
to
quickly.
that in a
Come.
moment.
Mhm.
Let you hang there for a second. But yeah, your path is clear out. No test. Morales is another issue. This is gorgeous. The ice sculptures, beautiful tapestries. This is an old building that's sort of a grand hall. Everything's decorated in early Aleister Crowley Gothic. It is done to have that kind of weird, how do I put this, outlaw art kind of feel to it. Like this is a very Catholic country, and this is a very almost sacrilegious kind of presentation here. You can see that there are no paparazzi here. There are no photographers here. Calix has made sure that no one will be recorded at this event. This is a chance to indulge, and he's clearly spent a great deal of money to have escorts and rooms that are set off to a side for indulgences. You have your invitation, Peter, Jimmy, and you arrive, and the place feels like immediately when you step in, it kind of gets in under your skin. Like you already feel just a little bit dirty just by being here. So, Peter, now that you've arrived at Eyes Wide Shut House, what is it that you want to do? Who do you want to talk to? What do you want to find out?
Well, first, do a little Ozzy Osbourne impression. Oh, Mr. Crowley. Just as we pull up. Good point. Maybe I should have a little cutscene with Jimmy discussing what we are. I think we've done the usual thing that's very easy to do in these games of we've leapt in without actually working out what we're going to do.
I just leapt in after you, Paul. I thought I didn't want to send you in on your own.
I will take the blame for this massively. Yeah.
My
Noel
plan
passed it to me. It's like, what do you want to do? So I've done something. I don't really know why I've done it.
I would say I was wondering if you were angling for getting captured and blown and using your own escape artist thing. But what I would say otherwise is that feels much more dangerous in a world deep in here. I would say I can easily make it so that I cut myself while in the presence of thingy in this room. And I know it's a nuclear option, but we've got a bunch of civilians, high-profile ones in here, and it will prove something. Or slip off and find out, and save that blood thing for a distraction if we need it.
Do we want to capture her? Is that viable? We're going to need the big Carl. I think if we're going to take on a vampire, Carl needs to, bring out the gimp. Something. I don't know. We need Carl with his mighty crossbow.
If Morgane is here, it'd be very interesting to talk to her.
I think she's a good target that we would like to take off the board and extract information from.
I think I would say that anything that we do big here is going to come back hard as hell on top of us. And I don't think that our current covers really have allowed us to set ourselves up in an advantageous position for anything hard, right? So we need to be subtle. And I think when Morgane, if we see Morgane, we need to work out, we see what we can see and we take what opportunities there are there.
We know she's got a vampire. We know she's got a vampire.
Yes,
protecting her.
We case Devil's House as best as we can, I guess, is our objective here. And we see what we can find out.
Let's gather some information from the inside. Yeah,
Okay.
let's go for that. We can always meet up over a martini in an Aleister Crowley etched glass and discuss plans. Fine. So yes, I think you see us. Well, you definitely see me. Going through the welcome line. Grabbing a drink. And yeah, I think very much like I've got a big sort of set of glasses on that have clearly got a hidden camera in them. And yeah, I want to really surveil the inside of the Devil's House. Easily accessible public rooms and maybe more private rooms leading off that could easily be sort of, I either took a wrong turn or I need to use the lavatory, that sort of thing. So that's what I would like to do when I'm in there.
So let's see where we start here. Do you have a cult?
No.
No, okay.
I don't. I have history though.
So I think that we will see you move around, kind of watching the ebb and flow of the party, who's here, what's going on. And I think you will kind of eventually kind of spot that there is someone who is clearly, how do I put this, being courted by Calix. And you have Streetwise, right?
No, you're speaking to the wrong person.
I have Streetwise.
The sense that you get, Peter, is that Calix has some plan. This party is to generally entertain, but he's also definitely moving to court someone. Like he has another agenda here. You have noticed, though, right?
Yes, I most definitely do, and I can spend from that.
Why don't you make a notice spend?
I have. Is this person a target? Might not be around for a bit longer.
No, that's not what you notice. I think because it's something that's definitely high in your awareness level, even with the sort of the dim lighting and such here, it is very clear to you that there is one of these shadow vampires attached to Calix, but deeper, darker, and larger than anything you've seen before. Like that where his shadow falls into the shadows of the room, it's like that utter black paint. It falls into that. And he moves around with an ease and comfort that says to you that he has absolutely no worries in the world. Jimmy, what are you looking for?
Do we see who that Calix is trying to court?
Why don't you make a streetwise spend?
Okay.
It kind of takes you a while to move around and look, there's a lot of people here, dim lighting, so on. But there is that moment where you catch sight of this guy, and it takes you a second, but you will recognize a guy named Vallejo, who is a very powerful drug smuggler. You know that he has a lot of connections, and in fact, you probably would have kind of, now that you think back on it, you know that he has a massive luxury yacht that is present here in Barcelona right now, as it happens. Vallejo is a dangerous, powerful, potent criminal lord, And you definitely have the sense that he's here to do business with Calix.
Okay.
Does that sound like fair info?
It does, yes. The web thickens, you know, the plot thickens.
Pavel, let's come back to you while this is going on. What's your next step? Who are you tracking down? What are you looking into? What are you setting up?
I got nothing. I'm just waiting to be available when if Henry needs some help.
Okay, so we'll assume that if something goes south with one of the others, that you are right there to follow up. Does that sound fair?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Henry, we swing back to you. Morales is like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Come here, Pablo.
He comes over to where you are. Why is he out of his room?
Martial arts.
Okay. So tell me what that maneuver looks like on screen.
It's just lean forward, chop to the throat.
Cool. There's that. And
before he falls over, put him in the interview room, close the door behind him.
And you will make that rush out with him behind you. I assume that we then have Carl in the van waiting to pick you up.
That would be very convenient if Carl has that time in his diary.
Yes, although I'm not sure if you are jumping on the van through the window, or are you going out through the front entrance? But
well, let me roll back about a minute here. Carl, you have, been tasked with watching for Henrietta, for her to make her escape. But I think you have enough notice and surveillance that as you've kind of been, gliding around, you can tell that there are a couple of teams of people who are watching the police station. They're trying to be real low key. They're trying not to grab police attention, but you have the sense that they are circling like sharks, watching, waiting, and you get the definite feeling that they are watching to see if they can get any opportunity to get at Montserrat.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, I noticed them only on the ground level, because right now I'm on the roof, setting up with the hook gun. I'm about to fire a rope between this roof and the police station roof, so that they can rope in and we can just vanish into the night.
I'll be honest with you, Henrietta's going to go out with the crowds, given this is a fire. I was going to go down, not up.
Then I'm just waiting on the other side, behind the corner.
Okay, because I think that's how we have to do this. Because I think the idea is I lose him in the crowd as we rush out to avoid the fire.
Then I think we see you do the rush out. You get out of that building. We see you head over to where Carl is at.
Not quite. I will burn on the move, which allows me to pick up enough some kind. I want to look like a cop when I get out into this car park where we're assembling.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give everyone watching, including Carl, a good look at Montserrat. Right? I'm holding you up while I'm talking to the other policeman, and saying, I need to get this guy away from here now.
And so where do you take Montserrat then?
Montserrat is with me.
No. But once he's been seen,
yes.
Once the people who are here watching for him, once Carl has seen, where do you take him?
I'm going to put him in the back of the car. I want Carl and everybody else to see me put this guy in the back of the car. The police car.
Which car? A police car
Police car.
with a police driver?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, yeah, you'll put him in the back of the car.
And I want everyone to see me put him in the back of the car.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I say to the driver, count to 10 and drive away at speed. I don't care where you go, just drive. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I open the car door on the other side, and I push Montserrat and me out after it and hope somebody follows that police car.
I want an evasion roll.
I thought you might. I will spend, I tell you what, is there anything I could spend to help me with this? I don't think there is. Okay. No, I tell you what, can I spend notice to know who I'm trying to distract to get a,
Yeah, that seems
Yeah.
like a fair spend.
and I will take all three of those and roll Henrietta. That is 10 plus 3 is 13. As
Then I
we
think
crouch on the ground while lots of people mill about looking for their fire assembly point.
Pavel, you'll see this police car go like a bat out of hell, and you see a couple of vans of people like immediately move to pursue, and there's that kind of mess as Henrietta rolls into your vehicle.
Well played.
Just like Dresden, Carl. Just like Dresden.
Yeah, you played all of those shards with a piece of meat.
And Montserrat is still looking kind of stunned as you take off. You will see Montserrat kind of looks up, and I think there's that moment when he recognizes Carl. Just sort of vaguely, like he looks, you see him narrow his eyes. Keep in mind, he was part of this sort of the whole thing of setting things up. And you see him kind of like open his mouth as if to maybe like object there. What do you say, Carl?
I don't. Oh, go on. Yeah, go on, Carl. You do.
Because you see that look of recognition. You have a distinct face. He was clearly part of the team that kind of set you up for the bombing thing.
You seem completely surprised. Do you think you are the only double agent in the business?
It's all business, right? It's just business.
Of course.
He'll nervously settle himself down in as you two head off to a safe location.
Yeah, to make him more comfortable, I'm going to say you did a great job. Those guys had no idea when I set them up.
He's still a little nervous, clearly uncertain, but that does take him down a degree. Let's come back to Peter, Jimmy. Beautiful place. Gotten some information here. What's your next step, Peter?
I'm gonna casually sidle up to Jimmy to discuss our next plan of action. Jimmy, do you think we could take her and remove the vampire from her?
Is Morgaine here?
That's another question. Are you going to look around for Morgaine then?
I think we will. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah,
She's got a lot of connections to this place, so I hope she is.
Morgaine is definitely here. She's enjoying herself. She's clearly shadowed by a couple of these mercenaries, but she is mingling in and amongst the crowd here.
Okay, spitballing a quick plan here, Jimmy. Distract and maybe be very easy on the eyes. Get rid of your footballer. Switch sides, as it would be. Get her alone I could have arranged for Carl's crossbow to be available just in the nick of time, possibly.
Well, let's do that if we need it in the nick of time, I guess.
And I could shoot the vampire.
So you want to immediately go to take down this vampire, her vampire, in the middle of Devil House?
If you could get her in, I mean, it's a big house. If you could get her alone, definitely away from those two guards. If it's a room where I can set up beforehand, I can take a shot. You know, from behind a set of curtains emerges Peter.
With a bloody crossbow.
I am proud to be part of this plan.
Now, if I'm dreaming a bit too big here, Jimmy, tell me.
I would like to try and get her on her own in a perhaps one might suggest a bathroom, right? Like a big fancy bathroom.
A fucking big bathroom.
Well, yeah. Well, this is a big old house, right? Like it's a huge thing.
It is. I can't really see how I can snipe a move in a bathroom.
Oh, that's true. Well, you're in the changing room off to the side.
I'm thinking more a sort of a room with a piano in it, or some big sort of ballroom, but not the main one.
The big point here is, Jimmy, you want to try and get her away from the bodyguards, get her isolated.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an infiltration roll.
Okay. I will roll with 2.
Okay.
That's an 8.
So I think you'll be able to get her peeled a little ways away from those bodyguards.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the best setup place for Peter, but we'll come back to that. But there is that moment when you kind of peeled it off and she looks at you and she says, Mr. Rook.
Morgaine, so good to see you.
Are the others here as well?
Not really. I don't know how I would answer. I just smile and say, well, you would know better than me, I'm sure. I just wanted to say how sorry I am about what happened to your family.
Like that tenses her neck up, and you see her eyes kind of go up and to the right, like she's talking to somebody, and she says, I appreciate that. I'm certainly sorry for what's going to happen to yours.
Oh, ship sailed on that one.
Oh, but has it? She's a lovely woman there in Paris.
Morgaine, I just wanted to ask you first. Did you know that it killed your family?
That was a very long time ago.
And you've made your peace with it? With that thing?
I would like you to make, let's see, what's going to be appropriate here. Cool or shrink would be appropriate ones for this.
Spend a point of vampirology to give me a pool?
Yeah, I like that.
I don't really know what my play is here, but it feels like being able to speak to her is, I will spend, I'll spend 2 of those points of vampirology because I might need another one to do something else in a minute, I'm sure. This all goes horribly wrong.
Let's have you roll.
14.
She looks at you and she says, you should go now. in that way that says, I'm going to give you an opportunity to leave.
What are they doing, Morgaine? Why are you helping them?
She looks at you, and when she looks up at you, you see the shadows have kind of rolled into her eyes. And she says, you've made the wrong choice, the wrong side to join with. And now you'll be swallowed by all of this. I gave you an opportunity. Peter, you kind of lost track of Jimmy. What are you doing when you realize that you can see the guards, but you don't see Jimmy, you don't see Morgaine?
I was expecting Jimmy to sort of bring her to my possible assassination point. So this doesn't seem to have worked. I think I'm going to... can I get anywhere with these? Yeah, I'm going to approach these guards, you know, and say, yeah, I'm looking for Morgaine.
And
You know
they're
where she is?
clearly looking for her as well. And they don't answer you, and they're clearly looking around trying to figure out where she's gone.
Then I'm going to sort of tail them. I'm
Okay.
going to stick with them like glue while they're looking for her. I'll attempt to help them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jimmy, you've got a few moments. You know those guards are going to be back soon. You don't see Peter.
If I spend bullshit detector, can I get a better read on Morgaine's willingness, complicity, you know, devotion to this vampire kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'll spend a point of bullshit detector because, you know, what I was trying to do was the kind of like, are you an unwilling servant or a, you know, a full-blown member?
When the gates of the underworld are opened, she'll be reunited with her child and her husband.
Oh God! So it's
That
like the
is the
glazed look of insanity.
promise
Yeah.
that has been made.
Ah, shit. Yeah. Okay. Jimmy is just gonna like swallow and say, "Well, good luck, I guess."
And you see that she's holding the vampire wants to murder you right now. And she is holding it in brief check.
And I raise my glass.
Okay.
Back slowly out of the room.
And Peter, you see these two guards coming in. You're kind of right behind them. They see Morgaine. You see Jimmy backing slowly away.
And I will make a reasonably obvious. What cover are you using, Jimmy?
I am currently.
I'll actually say, Jimmy. You know, there you are. She knows who you are. And I will try and extract him very quickly. What, you know, to put these guards closer to her, who I'd like to think they want to get close to, and
Jimmy,
remove him quickly from the situation. If it requires a bit of sweet talk, I may be able to do that.
I think that falls under evasion or cool to get out of here before these agents who are clearly knowing that something is up here.
Let's do this coolly.
Okay.
Cool as a cucumber, I want to be. Okay, 2 points spend. Let's roll +2. Needed it. 7.
So I think you will get back out of there, and I think Morgaine looks and says, Mr. Skellen,
I
I'm
will give that
sure
classic.
we will see each other again soon.
A great day it is, and I'm sure we will. And I will give it a nice flourishing type bow, grab Jimmy, and say, I think we need to leave quickly.
Yeah. I think as you're moving through the crowd, there is that thing where you see like people who are clearly in the group who are guards, touching their earpieces and starting to look around as you're making your way for the exit. And I think you can get out of there. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to spend in the nick of time. You have planted a bomb, you bribed a cop, or you researched a route of a parade. Instead of bribed a cop, could I have previously bribed one of the local security guys?
Probably more like a sort of the staff
Caterer?
people would be. Yeah. So, essentially one of them is at your elbow and kind of will maneuver you back to the back part of the party, past where they've got the champagne stored, and start moving you through.
It's got to be through a kitchen.
Oh yeah,
it's
twisty hallways
through a kitchen.
A kitchen, the steam, they move you past that, and they'll move you out into the cool night air there. Even as you could tell that the alert level was going up, and you guys will head out into the Barcelona evening.
Superb. Yeah, I think you see us sort of like removing all the finery. Underneath we've got sort of like Steve Jobs turtleneck. The usual score. Yeah.
And I think we'll do that wipe to wherever, Henry, Carl, you take Montserrat. I don't know if it's your safe house or another location.
I think it's got to be the safe house.
Okay. Then we arrive back at the safe house. He's sitting up. You can tell that he's got some health problems, maybe an iron deficiency. He's drinking tea. You get him settled. I probably have to, even though it's pretty warm in here, he wants a blanket. And then Peter and Jimmy will arrive on scene, and the two of you will see this haggard-looking Spanish gentleman.
Ah, Mr. Montserrat. Pleased to meet
before
you.
they can blow anything, Henry will step in and say, it seems to be broadly as Brett told us, but I think we need to just fully debrief Narcissus before we get him out of the country. We need to let things just calm down for those 24 hours or so.
If it's a full debrief, I will pat Carl on the shoulders and say, he could perform it.
Yeah, I think we want to debrief the shit out of Narcissus, really. And I don't know whether Carl wants to play a bad cop to somebody else's good cop.
You seem like a pretty good cop, Henry. I've got to make a phone call.
Sure, I can play the bad cop, although I'm not sure if you want to threaten him or just like aggressively question. I don't know.
We'll do that as a fictional positioning. We don't do torture or anything like that. This is the play. So what does it look like, Carl? When probably take Montserrat to another room, so that you have a little bit of isolation, a little bit of control of the situation. How are you playing the heavy in the scene? Are you at the door? Are you seated down? What do you think?
I don't know, because we still want to play as if we were MI6 Brett people, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he has to know that we're with Brett Bankson. Whether he knows him as MI6 or as something else is by the by. But we're because he was clearly relieved that Brett hadn't forgotten about him.
So rather than being overtly threatening, you're kind of just the strong, heavy presence in the room then? Or do you want to play it more nice?
I think Carl simply I think I will just like go and like do the like polite questioning, getting on all of the details. I'm really happy. I'm really interested in this like thing that they are trying to do in Istanbul. Basically questioning Five Whys. Why? How do you know? What are they planning, and getting into gritty details of things.
And Henry is there as well, and he'll say, our masters are old, and the world has changed, and they have been pushed back to the margins. Things have become chaotic for them, and they have decided to open the seals, and they have worked towards that. But it will mean the death of everyone. And I could not go along with that. And Nicanor, there are some amongst the Orphic tribe that feel this way, that stand against the plan, the pale agenda. But I confronted Calix once I realized that Morgaine had escaped and had already provided them the tools they needed. And he ripped my master away from me and consumed him. My husband saw what was happening and desperately opened his own veins to try and feed Nicanor. But even that strength was not enough to fight against what Calix has. He slaughtered the whole board of Eurydice. Enough of these mortals. He is ready to take the steps that are demanded by the masters.
Okay, so I assume they haven't opened the gates to the Underworld yet. So what are they missing? Or
that I don't know. I know that Calix is to help spread some of the beacons for this, and I know that there is a site in Istanbul that is part of this, but outside of that, I do not know. They needed the blood of the other line of vampires, and they got that through Morgaine's information. I know that's needed to open these gates.
Okay, so do you know? Do you know anything about the site in Istanbul?
No, it's I know that there's a certain amount of charitable money that's getting funneled there. I know that that's on the table, but outside of that, I'm not privy. I know that when they open those gates, everyone is going to die. They will
So you
open
mean-
it up,
So
and
by everyone, you mean humans?
yes, the hungry, unquiet dead, the shades, the other masters, hidden away, will come out and will feed and will enter the shadows of others, and darkness will fall over Europe, Middle East, everywhere.
So why are the gates closed?
I don't know, but there was a war between my master's people and the high vampire of the other line. And she shut that. She sealed it away, but how, I don't know.
The master from the other clan, yes.
Yes, the mother of all the other vampires. You would know her as Lilith. But you have to get me out of here. If Catlix knows that I'm gone from the police station, he will spare nothing. He has many methods. He has tools, occult tools beyond what is gifted him by his master. The powers that he has are dangerous, and he will find me.
So is Calix a human, or is he something else with the powers of a master?
He has given himself over to one of the most powerful of the Waken Masters. It lives in his shadow, but he also has gifts that he has gathered over the years. I did not imagine he was as powerful as he is.
So you mentioned that through Morgaine research, Calix has all of the blood of the other vampires needed.
There were experiments.
Do you know where are they holding it?
No, that I don't know. I know that they tracked it down. From what I understand, Morgaine's master, not master, no, not the vampire, but the one who taught her, was part of some kind of project that had access to the blood of the other vampires. And that's how she got a hold of it and handed it to them.
I think I'd like to bring Narcissus a nice warm drink.
He will take that. Yeah, he'll drink that down.
I think soon Narcissus is not going to feel very well. So if you want to ask any more questions, Carl, You need to answer them quickly. You will have known that I would have taken this bloke a poison drink. I would have told you beforehand.
Do we have any more questions for him? Anyone on the earpiece?
What about the drug dealer that Calix is working with? What's his plan there? And if there's possibility, when did Montserrat start working for Edom?
When or why?
When and why, really, I suppose. But
why? Because he was opposing this plan.
Probably yes, but when is the, because that's a whole different group of vampire whatever, right? Like.
And so I'll answer both those questions. Even as he's starting to kind of get a little weak and a little peaked, pale, he'll say, what was the first question? What was it? What was it?
Why did you contact us in the first place?
Because I found it. Word leaked down a few years ago about what was going on. There have been whispers, and we found out about this pale agenda, this move to bring the shadows to come and kill so many, to make the world right for what they wanted. That would have been 2018, 2019. That I found out about that, and I started to look into it, and eventually I found out about your organization. And you asked about the drug dealer, the Vallejo. Vallejo has been promised a place. He is to be initiated into the order, and through him, Calix will have access to his network of smuggling and transport. His luxury yacht, and all of those things. This Vallejo has many connections scattered all around the Mediterranean.
Why does Calix needs a drug trader, connections and yachts?
I don't know. I know that they have made preparations in many places for the coming, but that there are other locations that still need to be touched ceremonially, and I think that Vallejo has something to do with that, or at least that's what Calix wants. Could I maybe have a glass of water?
Yes, sure.
How do you kill them, Carl? Ask him, how do you kill them?
How to ask this question? So you have been, so it might come to us having to directly confront Calix. You mentioned he's powerful, but how do you weaken him?
There's not a question of weakening. They are powerful. There are a few banes that can work against them. Living wood can affect them when they are a living wooden stake. When they are in their forms, they move between shadow and shade and physical form. Blood draws them out. A warm, fresh blood will draw them from the shadows, from the shade, into another form. They are burnt by sunlight over time. While it is not a bane like the other line, not a killing bane, it is a weakening one. So sunlight, and they dread the laughter of children.
Luckily, we have that in plenty full supply.
And I think that's the point at which he'll start to probably convulse and kind of look down, and head will hit the table with that kind of resounded thud of when a skull hits without any kind of holding back. That just as you crunch, teeth hit the table, everything.
Shit, Peter, was that absolutely necessary?
Is he alive?
He was in league with them. Whether or not he's not got the vamp, he was a pretty nasty person.
He said he was trying to save everything.
Well, clearly he wasn't. I think he was just annoyed that he'd lost his master. You know,
He only lost his master because he was trying to tell us all that he tried to tell Edom.
His master got consumed. He would want his master with him. This is a man that I literally considered to be still nasty.
Jimmy rolls him up and hasn't got anything in medic, so he's trying to stabilize Montserrat.
You don't have anything in medic, but Peter has good skills in chemistry, so I think there is that bit where his eyes kind of glaze over in your arms.
Yeah, we got what we needed. He could easily turn the tables on us again. He knows where we are. He just needs to get a word out. This could get him back in the good books with Chelex. So, you know, we got what we needed from him. Let's bundle him up, you know, wrap him in plastic. He can go in the docks as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, you can fucking do that yourself,
it's reasonably clean. In fact, how about a nice concrete build? You know, I hear they're building something downtown. You could end up in the foundations of that, as far as I'm concerned.
And
I think the difference here between Jimmy's reaction and Henrietta's is that Jimmy's not really a professional. And so Henry kind of sees the inevitability of this. She didn't want to see the inevitability of it, but she does. There was no way we could let him loose.
I thought you two were all for Team Edom. I thought you'd be saying, let's turn it all over to them. Let the big boys take care of it.
No.
Well,
I think this guy is, as far as I'm concerned, he's bad. Once you're tainted with bad, he wasn't making many steps towards the good side as far as I was concerned.
But I think
you didn't see Morgaine. You didn't see Morgaine. I've seen someone who's too far gone. He was trying to find his way out and you fucking took it.
Celebi. So I think now we need to have a big group discussion about where we're going to go.
I think we're going to we're going to do a little bit of final talk because we're going to save that discussion for next time. But Henrietta, if we're going to say,
I just think that we close with Henry looking at Peter without him seeing her look at him, and you see a kind of realization that this geeky bloke in glasses is actually pretty dangerous. There's a hard man in there that he manages to keep hidden a lot of the time.
You look at Carl. Carl's your hitter, but he still has some conscience. He still has some heart, as you've seen before. But you look at Peter and probably nothing there.
He's cold.
But
I expected Carl to go in harder than he did, but Carl chose to go, to be the good cop. I wasn't expecting that. So yeah, there's some cogs shifting in Henrietta about, who would she trust with her back if there was a risk that she was going to be suborned? I wonder.
And Jimmy, I think after this whole sequence, you look down, you realize that there's a missed call, playing phone tag with her. Get that voicemail from Cassia. Hey, I got your message. I'm just calling you back. I've got to run out. I'll try and give you a call tomorrow.
Yeah, I would probably like to do this a refresh scene at some point, but probably not right.
Yeah,
at the
we'll
start.
do that
Yeah.
for next time.
Yeah.
What's the last we see of Carl in this scene? I want you to kind of close out this moment.
I think it might be like later, although we usually act at night, so probably staying up till 4 a.m., having like 3 monitors with some like Latin text translation of different Bibles, and Carl is like really digging. What did Lilith seal? Like, what the hell is he talking about?
Excellent.
He's reading like Greek. We see some translation, some Google translation of this Greek text, and yeah.
Absolutely. That's where we're going to leave off. I think we've got one more step in, at least in this Barcelona, as you decide how you're going to go, but you will get a refresh between now and next session. If you don't mind, we'll do a quick stars and wishes. Let's start with Jimmy Rook.
Well, stars for this big sprawling conspiracies within conspiracies within conspiracies and all of the reveals and everything. I think it's worked wonderfully. Henry for the operation in the prison. I thought that went really well. Peter for all of that drama and putting us right up against the lines then in the thing. And Carl, that was a great interrogation. I think you really pressed on all of that mythology and got as much, because that was really what we need to know, is all of that Greek stuff. And we do have a weapon for them, which I thought in Devil's House was probably not quite a big enough gun to deal with that situation, but definitely good to have it. Yeah, those are my stars. I would have to think about wishes, I think.
Okay. I do want to second you on Henry. I love the Henry not wanting to do it, not wanting to do it, not wanting to do it. Oh, okay, I'll do it. Kind of move that went on there. Paul.
I'm already unmuted. Yeah, again, there was great teamwork, but still tension. Nobody's a sort of drone. Everybody bought everything. I think that's really, the power of the group, that we don't all go off, in random directions, but there's enough pull in either way. And I think everybody bought that tonight. And again, Lowell, we had a party split. It was good. But the pacing was still really quick. I never got really any bored there at all. So, I think everybody hands the spotlight over really well. Again, maybe because we played together for we're now weeks and weeks into this. There's no sort of like grabbing the limelight for too long a period of time. People know really well when to, thanks, hand it over. So yeah, to me, other players, I always feel included and yeah, good.
Awesome. And Alan?
Yeah, I loved getting Henry back in her comfort zone, really. She's good with mortals. It's when things get a little bit immortal that she gets a bit twitchy. So I felt that was really confidence building for her. I enjoyed seeing Jimmy push his luck just a little too far. That was good fun. And just the idea of this quiet analyst from Bath turning into this kind of just hardened, just killer. If in doubt, snipe. If in doubt, there's the crossbow behind the curtains. If in doubt, of course there's poison in the tea. And Carl, I want to apologize because I think I trod on your urge for a bit of action outside the police station by just sending on their way. Sorry about that if that was my intention, but I thought you handled that interrogation spot on.
Wishes?
I want to be on the next plane to Barcelona, to Istanbul.
Okay.
Because I think that's more important than what's going on in Bucharest.
The next plane from Barcelona.
From Barcelona to Istanbul.
Excellent. Carl, Pavel, I do want to say we didn't get as much chance to get you in the spotlight, so I want to make sure that we get at least some kind of action set piece for you next time. That is high on my list because we had a lot of info dump investigation, so we were a little bit out of your element, so I want to make sure that we get that for you. But stars, wishes?
I'm sure there will be some action down the line. It was so not my day. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired. I don't know. So not my day. I really enjoyed a real open conversation with Nuf Morgaine that Will had. It was like really cool to finally dig that. So they take these vampires willingly, and she's so sold on this. Oh my God, she's like, there's no saving her, because I was constantly thinking, do we like try to save her or not? Now I see that there's no point. Just like bullets, distance, be done with it. It was cool. It was really cool. The interrogation scene. I was like really curious. What will Henry do with Pablo? And like bang. So yeah.
Okay.
It was interesting, deep investigation.
Well, we'll try to get you in a little more comfort zone for next time. I appreciate your playing through. Thank you all so much. I am going to.
Before you finish, I do want to add a star for you actually, because I think, yeah, there was a lot of info in that one, but I think what you've managed to do between last session and this one, Lowell, is to give us enough about one conspiracy and enough about the other conspiracy to now make an informed choice, you know, of which way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was very elegantly done.
Awesome.
I've thought of a wish. I second the wish for like action and stuff. I definitely want a firefight of some kind. I do enjoy that sort of thing of it. I quite enjoy some interpersonal drama as well, because like I definitely don't think Jimmy's cool with just poisoning this guy. But you know, I don't want to. I want to be clear that I don't want that to like. That's not player kind of disagreement. That's just character disagreement. You know. But I'd like to hit those notes as we go on.
There's a particular kind of blowback that's associated with that we'll probably see on stage next time. But so I am going to stop recording.